nation, God is NNG. Not just what you see, 8 frequencies of elevation. Reach your highest frequency. She serving healing and education, uplifting and motivating. NNG, new nation goddess. Hey, yo, check this. You are now tuned in to the Transcend NNG podcast with your host, Brittany Walker. New episodes on Wealth and Wellness Wednesdays.
Happy Wealth and Wellness Wednesday, everybody. You have made it to the Transcend with NNG podcast, where I am your host, Brittany Walker, also known as New Nation Goddess. And you have made it to episode 8, where we are talking about what energies are you aligning with. It is Wednesday, July 5th, 2023. And we are also going to be highlighting the 7th frequency of elevation out of our 8 frequencies of elevation, which is social synergy. So we like to kick off each episode with the I am power statement. I representing inspiration, A representing affirmation, and M representing manifestation. And the I am power statement for today is I am choosing to align myself with energies of abundance, wealth, happiness, love, but most importantly, that are genuine and peaceful. Ashe. And so there it is. Guys, July is Vibrate Awareness Month. It is also National Minority Mental Health Month. And I don't like to say that word minority because I really feel like we are the majority. So I definitely just want to highlight those 2 months. If you follow our other podcast, Kick Cramps Ass, we will be doing something special for Fibroid Awareness Month, and we will definitely be tuning in. And if you keep up with some of our other outlets, shout out to Spoken Black Girl, where I am a wellness blogger for. We will be highlighting things for mental health for the majority. So we typically like to give a reference or a quote each episode. And so today we're going to do a quote, and it's converse with people that raise your vibration. That is from an anonymous high frequency thinker. So the tea of the day, we are definitely having some of Kick Cramps Asses, Cramp Elixir, just to put the right herbs and spices in our body to keep our wounds well, but also to keep us detoxified as we're coming into the summer months. Pollen and things of that sort are all in the air. So we just want to make sure that we are keeping ourselves purified and excreting out what doesn't serve us and what doesn't align with us, which happens to go perfectly with this episode. So let's get into it. I want to start off with like a sub theme. In addition to what energies are you aligning with, let's talk about celebrity pandemonium versus outcasted leaders. For those of you watching on Spotify and YouTube, you could catch this face. What I mean by that, celebrity pandemonium or outcasted leaders. Are we following behind celebrities and these energies because of how many likes they have, how many followers they have, what they wore, what they had going on that is probably of not a wealthy mindset or putting you at a high frequency vibration? So I have noticed, especially from childhood to now, how people react behind celebrities and how they worship celebrities like they're gods. And I mean, we're all gods and goddesses in our own rights, but I mean, as far as they feel like they're beneath this celebrity and this celebrity is the God Almighty that they should be worshiping. And then when I look at who the celebrity is, I'm like, what are they delivering? Are they delivering these whack ass verses and words to just really great beats? I mean, supposedly Lucifer did that, right? I'm just saying, I'm just giving a reference. And y'all, I have been very vocal about not being religious, even though I grew up a Southern Baptist Christian. I mean, a story is a story. Lucifer had the bomb ass beats. He led the choir. He be wheeling you in with the beat. And people hit that beat and they start jamming. But guess what? And then when you start listening to the words, you're like, what the hell? Like there are several celebrities and artists that I used to look up to, and we're from the same city or we represent this. And it's because at that point, I was low vibrational, being honest and taking accountability. But then also at that point, that celebrity was not where they were at as well. They were actually given good substance back then, which is crazy. And then now, some of the words that are being said, I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, and this is what people are jamming to. This is what people are like twerking to. This is what people are breaking their necks to go pay all this money to go see. These words are whack as fuck. But this is who we're looking up to, and this is who we're worshiping. But then we have outcasted leaders, the Marcus Garveys, the Malcolm X's, like Afeni, Shakur. Like we can keep going. Ashada Shakur. Like I don't even want to consider Angela Davis as an outcasted leader, but at one point, like she was outcasted. Like she's making a lot of strides now over the latter decade, 2 decades, and shout out to her because that's somebody I've mentioned before that that's auntie in my head. But her platform is different, so she can move differently now. But at one point, like people were not trying to rock with her, and she's been speaking the same realness since then. So, who are you really following? So, how is it that you will follow and practically worship a celebrity, but have no sense of radical or valuable leaders in our culture? Check who you following. What does your followers look like on Instagram? Who are you really paying attention to? Whose pages are you feeding into, and you're taking and absorbing their energy and the information that they're giving? I mean, just sit and think about it. I tend to do a social media cleanse where I will completely get off of social media and not be on. I'll do that for a month or two at a time, typically towards the end of the year as I'm recalibrating for the new fiscal year, not the new calendar year, the fiscal year. Um, But also my followers, I will do a cleanse with my followers every season. I just feel like it's important to detox everything every quarter. So every 3 months or every season, it's important to detox people, places, things, activities, things that no longer serve you. It's good to detox your mind, body, and soul, your mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, and financial capabilities. It's good to detox all of that. So a part of me likes to detox, like straight up. Both my personal and my business page. My personal page, I got rid of 100 followers within the last week, and my business page, I got rid of about 60 followers, just because as I sit and I monitored and I watch it, we don't align, and it's okay. I just want to be able to have space to pour in good, positive energy so that it allows me to keep evolving into my best self. So therefore, I can truly serve, heal, and educate people. I can't be out here trying to serve the people, but I'm not on that frequency or that energy to be serving the people. And I'm not into wanting to serve people and keep them at their capacity and not help them evolve and keep them where they need to be so I can keep taking their money or taking up their time or filling their space with invaluable factors that is keeping them a low vibrational person. It's just not in my values to do that. So you will know a reality star before you know an African god, goddess, or Orisha. I said it. I said it. You could tell me about reality stars. You could tell me about these up and coming musicians. You can tell me about movie stars. You could tell me about influencers. You could tell me about models that work for certain clothing brands that you're into. You could tell me about these models that are, the faces of these makeup brands that you're into, but you can't tell me one African god or one African goddess and what their powers are and what they did and what they contributed to our culture and our society. But that's your culture. That's your history. Why don't you know these things? I'm just saying, this is what I mean about what energies are you aligning with. So you frown upon the teachings and histories that have been taught for centuries in our culture, yet you still conform to Western ideologies. I said it. This episode is that I don't give a fuck if it's going to hurt your feelings, because maybe I just need to be the messenger and you need to hear it. This is some real life shit that is going on, and it's going to keep you incapacitated if you do not choose to get outside of this bubble that society is trying to force you to stay into, and to really tap into your own power and your own gifts and give while you're here in this realm. We need you. You got a gift that somebody needs, that multiple people need, but you're not tapping into that because you're worried about the wrong shit. Western ideologies. Western ideologies is not going to catapult you into where you need to be. As long as you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, you are going to consistently stay broke. If you are trying to consistently be in this perfect body, and you have to have certain eyelashes and certain hair and certain nails, and your body got to be looking a certain way, you are constantly going to be having mental and emotional issues because you are constantly going to be feeding into an insecurity. What's wrong with being natural? What's wrong with not wearing makeup? Yes, I have on lipstick, but there's no mascara, no lashes, nothing filling in my eyebrows, no nothing. What's wrong with being natural and embracing who you are and like your being, your body? If you want that ass to sit up, go work out. That's going to contribute also to other forms of health, and not just your physical, but your mental, emotional, and your spiritual state as well. It might take a little longer for you to get there, but you can get there. Why do you have to put weave in your hair? Your natural hair is bomb.com. I see it all the time when people go travel to certain countries over the seas, and if they have their natural afro, motherfuckers are wanting to touch them and take pictures with you because they're like, oh my damn. But then you want to go get your hair straightened. Like, wear that natural hair. Your melanin is popping. You do not need to be putting nothing on your face. It's going to make your face lighter than what it needs to be. And if you are covering up scars, acne, and things of that sort, then detoxify that body. Get rid of them chemicals and them toxins and get them hormones balanced and get that face cleared up. There's levels to this. It takes time, patience, discipline, being focused, and elevating to a higher frequency, aligning with energies that can get you there, that doesn't make you feel like you're doing it on your own. But you also need to kind of be mindful of, you came into this bitch by yourself and you're going to leave it by yourself. So you shouldn't have to rely on the decisions that you make in your life being based around everybody else. You got to learn to start doing and moving on your own. You got to learn what it's like to be by yourself and sit with yourself and love yourself when you're by yourself to help you really elevate. All right. So who is your leader? Who are you following? Who is your leader? If somebody comes to you and state, what is it that you want to do in the next 3 to 5 years? And you give your answer. Well, who has inspired you to do that? Who's your leader? I see a lot of people's leader has been Nicki Minaj based off of these bodies. But is that helping you? Because when she was body yaddy yaddy back in 2009 and getting everything fixed, nobody was telling you that, hey, when you get something done, you got to keep up with that shit. So if you get your breast done every 10 years, you got to get something, make sure that it's staying to par. They didn't tell you getting them ass shots is going to be painful. And you could possibly deal with other issues and shit can start leaking and getting into other areas and blood clots start from. They don't tell you all that. All you see is, this is the way you look, this is the type of attention you getting, and this is what I want as well. But that's not the right type of fucking attention. Like, bruh, that's not the right attention. Like, look at where Nicki is now. Like, you could say that she's successful, okay, but then let's be real. Like, you're married to a pedophile and a rapist. You had a kid by him. Okay. But that's who you want to follow. No, let's shift our minds. Let's shift our minds. What are you passionate about? Whatever you're passionate about, Think about people that are passionate about those same things. And there's several people that you might look into that you're like, oh, these could be like a great mentor, role model, somebody that I don't believe in. Me personally, I don't believe in wanting to have exactly what somebody else's has, but I do believe in opportunities, and I do believe in, if somebody is open and willing to give you their time and teach you a little bit of the game, even if it's just 5 minutes of their time, and they give you a bit of advice, you take advantage of that, because that one bit of information can catapult you to the next frequency. So what is it that you're passionate about? And what is it that you want to do for the world? What is it that you want to do to contribute to sustainable economies? What is it that you want to do to move globally? These are the people that should be your leader. You, first of all, are your own leader. Let's get that straight. You are your own leader, but who are people that you are inspired by, influenced positively by? That's what I mean when I said who is your leader, because you are your own leader. You better be your own damn leader. Because then people come in and then they try to control you and manipulate you and brainwash you into doing the shit that they want you to do. And then you turn into a people pleaser. And then you're not able to be independently matured enough to set proper boundaries and stand up for yourself. Don't get caught up in that mix. However, if you had the chance to select a mentor of your choice, who really comes to mind? I want to give a shout out to DJ Moultrie, Derek Moultrie of the Black Equity Network and Acquisitions Network. I have mentioned him before. He also was a part of our season 2 with our knowledge acquisition episode. I want to say that season 2, possibly episode 5, I believe. But shout out to him, because in our relationship and as we have matured and developed our relationship, he will put me on a game. He will say, we need to shift your mindset. Like, come on, let's do this. He always got me to think outside the box from where I was currently at. And that is, to me, is true elevation. But two things that he brought to me. One year he said, and I believe this was 2020, what millionaire mentor, if you can have any millionaire mentor, who would it be and why? And I had to sit and think about it. And then it was a couple of people that came to mind, and he was like, well, have you tried to connect with them? So then I went and looked these people up, connected with them, followed them, whether it was LinkedIn, social media, connecting via emails, and just monitor those people. Then I noticed that over time, out of those 5 individuals that I chose, 3 of them, I really wasn't even feeling no more. After a couple of years and just really watching them, I was like, they don't move the way that I want to move. At first, it looked like all bells and whistles. But again, when you first see something, it's like a new toy. Everything looks great. It's like a new relationship. That person's going to give you their best selves. I was always raised the first 3 months, somebody's going to give you their best 100% selves, because they want you to like everything about them. But nowadays, when you talk to like a love counselor or marriage counselor, something, they'll tell you 18 months, like a year and a half, somebody can play the fool and act like they're this person because they want this. And it's just like, well, why don't you just be that person? But that's a different story. But anywho, I realized that some of these people were not aligning with the energies that I wanted to align with. So then I stopped following them. But the other 2, I was like, okay, was able to connect with them, have good vibes. Great opportunities have come out of it, and I look forward to great opportunities. But then in the beginning of 2022, DJ came back at me and was like, so what billionaire mentor, if you could talk to them, who would it be and why? And of course, for me, person of color is always going to be my thing. And for me also, is going to be a woman. There's plenty of men out here that are millionaires and billionaires and things of that sort, but I wanted a melanated woman. And that was on the millionaire aspect as well. And same thing for billionaire. And at this time, Rihanna had not became a billionaire yet. Like, she ended up becoming a billionaire like a few months later or something. However, Oprah was like the only one from the United States, in addition to, her last name slipped me, but it's Sheila. She owns like the Salamander Resort hotels. And if y'all don't know, look her up. And I believe that she used to be like part owner or founder of BT or something along those lines. But those are the only people that are pulling up. So I went globally and I started looking into who was I interested in, and like, how did you get to your billionaire status? because I know like Oprah worked her way up and it was media, and then she became a philanthropist and this is that and the third. And Oprah is somebody that I did used to look up to. But then also just with the elevation that I've experienced in the high frequency that I've gotten to, there's a lot of things that I have also discovered that I'm not too shabby on when it comes to Oprah. So I don't know if I want to move like her. So I had to do my own research and look into like what these people were into, how did they get their start, whatnot. And in my case, since I am a serial entrepreneur, I'm a strategic operations entrepreneur. I wanted somebody that moves in the operation in the way that I move. How are you with operations? How are you with maintaining multiple businesses? How are you with investing into other businesses? How are you with giving back? And then what's your passion business? Like what is the one that's your baby that you just want to serve, help, and assist people with? Which all your businesses should reflect that, but I believe in having a passion business. And so I did my research. So for me, if I could have anything, then I was like, okay, cool. So then, and Sheila Johnson, I was right. So Sheila Johnson actually was on my list. So Folo Ansho Alakija is the billionaire that is on my vision board. Social media connection, found you on LinkedIn, subscribe to newsletters. Although she is a minister and she's a Christian minister, things of that sort, that still doesn't deter me away from that's your passion and that's like her passion baby. But she has other businesses that are like, okay, this is what I want to play around with. This is what I want to discover and learn more of. So on my vision board, you're on my vision board doesn't mean that I'm going to actually meet you. That means that I could just learn your model, your business model, your strategies. You know, maybe I might connect to somebody that works, that is like the vice president or the president of one of your organizations, and maybe we work together. You know, it can be some form of connection, but following a person that is on the energy and the level that you're trying to get to is going to be beneficial with your social synergy, who you're aligning with, who you're connecting with. All right. So Sheila Johnson was the other one. So she was the first Black woman billionaire. All right. Like the first Black woman billionaire. So people think it's Oprah and it's not. So looking into those people gave me some insight. But then after I was like, okay, I see you women, but let me go check out some of these men. So then the first person that I actually gravitated to, and again, shout out to DJ, I learned about this person on one of his podcasts, but it's Patrice Motsepe. First thing was like, okay, my middle name Patrice, and that's your first name. So, hey, Pat. But then just finding out like what he was into, how he got to where he is. And I'm like, this is a Black, well, let me take it back. He's African, but that melanated man is making these moves. Yes. Then Aliko Dangote, he's another one. I think more people are more familiar with Robert Smith because Robert Smith is from the United States and the moves that he's made, and the outlets that he's been on, and you know the way that he's given back. You know, several years ago, let me not say several, I think it was around COVID time, where he I think it was Morehouse, and he paid off like student loans, and I think he also like paid off like the parents' student loans and like some other stuff. Like he's made some really great moves. But DJ put it in my head about not always thinking about the United States, because if you want to move globally, if you want to have business partners all across the globe, you got to think outside of that era. Um, and so looking at these people, researching them, seeing how they move, it was very inspirational. It was very empowering. And just putting them on my vision board, it has opened me up to so many opportunities that are aligned in the industries that they're in. And it's kind of crazy the way it worked out. With opening kick camps as April 1st, we've been open just now coming up on our third month, and we're already have global partnerships. And that's like so dope to me. Like we have partnerships in 2 other continents besides the region that we're in right now. And that is amazing. But it's because it's a mindset and it's how you move and it's how you evolve. Like it's really dope for somebody to say, hey, I need you to be a panelist, but we're like 21 hours apart. So is this going to work for you? Like that's a really dope thing. And then you're helping people and you're spreading awareness and you're building a sustainable economy. So who are you aligning with? Are you keeping up with the Joneses? Or is nothing wrong with what your guilty pleasures are. If you want to watch reality TV, if you want to do that, that's fine. But don't get so engulfed in it that you consume your whole life around it. And then you're following in the steps in these people that some of these people might not be on the frequency that you think they're on. And then if you feel like they're above you, that just shows you that maybe you're a couple of frequencies down than what you really desire. You might want to live a more wealthy mindset, but you don't know how to shift out of that because everybody around you is on a rich or a poor man mentality mindset. So be mindful of those things. The last billionaire that I actually researched, which is somebody that I know I would not be able to have access to because he is no longer with us, but Mansa Musa. I mean, he was the first known melanin billionaire in history, running the Mali Empire. And that's one thing I want us to get into. People get mad when I say this, and shout out to DJ again, because this again is another form of elevation that he put me on game to. But being an emperor, you had an empire, not a kingdom. People say king and queen, king and queen. That's dope. But just like how okay, so let me give this example. When I was younger, my daddy used to call me his princess. But guess what? Once I became a grown woman, excuse me, and he saw how I was evolving, then he called me his little queen. I feel like I could have threw like Duchess or somewhere in the mix. Call me his queen, his little queen. But now I've evolved more, so it's like, okay, on that empress level. And then when you evolve a little bit more, I'm on that goddess level. So just like how there's levels to royalty and there's ways that you can evolve and keep going up and up, you got to be mindful of that. Most people don't say, oh, Mansa Musa, the king, the pharaoh. He had an empire. Empire. That's dynasty. That's a totally different elevation than just being a king or queen, having a king and a kingdom or a queendom, whatever you want to call it. So levels. Go research Mansa Musa. M as in man, ANSA, and last name or middle name, however you want to say it, because people think of it differently based off of what culture and how you look at history back then. And Musa, M as in Mary, MUSA. So Musa, MUSA. Look it up. You can learn for yourself. And even with the richest billionaires that we have now, even if you combine them, they still don't amount to the amount of wealth Mansa Musa had. So that just lets you know where our history is, that we come from abundance. And you have to speak abundance into your life, and you have to live and have actions of abundance. And how do you do that? You align yourself with high frequency thinkers, and you have a high frequency mindset. You have a wealth mindset. All right. So think about a millionaire or a billionaire, or even a few in each category, that look them up, check them out, see what they have going on, see how they got to where they got to, and then put those people on your vision board. Try to connect with these people and see how that works. And even if you don't connect with them, you might connect with somebody in their camp or somebody that's in that same industry that could probably even give you more or better information than going directly to that person. You never know how things work out, but just be receptive to the blessing and the lesson in the situation. Now, what education are you digesting? Are you distancing yourself from distractions? That means screen time. You just scrolling in your damn phone. You looking at all these unnecessary videos that are not adding value to your life. You're being nosy and checking out what other people have going on, when that could be time devoted to your life and your passions. Are you having invaluable conversations? Are you spending days starting your conversation off in a group chat with your best friends, and they're steadily bitching and complaining about life and how they woke up mad and how they did this, and now that is setting your mood for the day? Are you having conversations with the people that you really love? Maybe it's a family member. Maybe it's a partner. your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, but the conversation is just not going anywhere. It's always toxic, it's undesirable, it's never optimistic. Why still keep indulging in that? Because that energy starts to hone down on you, and then you become a people pleaser, and then you're trying to help them out, and that's taking time away from things that they're not ready to change, that you need to be focused on things that you have sole control over. Wasting time participating in toxic behavior. Remove all people, places, and things that don't add value to your life. Do not align with energies that is not going to allow you to elevate and really prosper. Divulging your time and not gaining substantial insight. Who wants to keep pouring into somebody that you always come in with some shit? And you're never coming with nothing valuable enough to help me elevate in any form of fashion. And I'm not saying it has to do, you have to help me elevate in my career. Help me elevate mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It's always got to be some drama. It's always got to be some toxicity. It's always got to be you bitching and complaining about something. That is not the life. But that's so common in our culture, and we accept it because it's normal. No, it's not supposed to be normalized. You got to I'm not even gonna say institutionalize yourself and like undo that. You just have to unlearn conditions that are no longer beneficial for you. So just because it's on TV, the news, or media does not mean that it is real. So stop being closed minded and being open to possibilities. Stop believing that everything that you see or hear is the truth. You can go do your own research. There are artifacts, there are documents, there are documentaries, there are movies, there are books. There are so many things that you can read or watch that are more valuable and help you to really learn who you are and how you can really tap into your own power. Stop sleeping on yourself. Now, do not always be the smartest person in the room all the time. Who wants to be that? Unless it's an ego stroke, unless you want to be the smartest person and you need people to come validate you and feel and feed your ego and fuel the insecurity that you don't probably realize that you still have. It could be a slight part of narcissism kicking in. Been there, done that. That's why I'm calling it out, because been there. It's wise to not always be the smartest person in the room because you want to be able to elevate. If you're the smartest person and nobody's bringing you any valuable information, you're going to then become stagnant and stay comfortable in your spot. You have to be willing to go into a room and not be afraid to ask questions. And even if you are afraid to ask questions at first, just go and sit there and just listen and observe and monitor and just absorb different factors that you're not accustomed to. And then as you become more comfortable, then you can start navigating and networking and talking to people and asking questions and getting fulfilled, get your cup full over. But then you also have to be willing to reciprocate that and be able to provide information that is helpful for others as well. Because just because somebody elevates you or you feel like is more elevated than you doesn't mean that they still can't learn from you either. So be mindful of that as well. Pour into them just like how they can pour into you. Because they can pour into you and give you a bit of information that's about your career and it can catapult you in your career. But then you might give them information that's beneficial for their mental or emotional state or their spiritual state that they weren't even thinking about that they needed, but they actually needed, and you just happen to be that messenger. So it could work either way. So elevate your conversations. Start having more meaningful conversations. Start indulging in conversations that actually go somewhere and you can learn and you can vibe with people. Enhance your reading skills. Be open to reading. And if it's something that you're not interested in, find what you're interested in and then learn that thing. Embrace that thing. Fall into that passion. Indulge in research. If you can research people pages, yep, if you're on social media, I'm sorry, if you're on Spotify and YouTube, you can see me throwing the finger at the camera. The same way you research people pages, you be stalking people, whether that's an ex, whether that is a new person you're into, whether that's somebody you've started dating and you're just trying to get further insight, whether that's an employee that you want to bring on, a business person you want to do business with, just the same way you can research them. You could take time and research something that you're really passionate about or something that you need to learn that's going to truly elevate you mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. The same way that you do all that screening, you can go down a rabbit hole with looking at products and services that you want. You're like, ooh, I really want to get this new lock gel. And then you start looking, and then you're like, ooh, that person also has like some yoni wash. Let me look into that. And then you're like, ooh, that person got this perfume. But then you come out of that person page, and then Instagram hits you with a suggestion page. And you're like, ooh, this business got the same stuff they got. And then you start looking at all that. And next thing you know, an hour then went by, and you've been looking at lock products and and yoni products for the last hour. You could do the same damn thing with what you're passionate about and things that you really want to know. It works the same way. People always want to look up to these celebrities and embody, like, oh my God, I wish I could do that. And I wish I could do that. That person has the same 24 hours that you have. It's how they utilize their time. It's what they devote their time to. It's what they allow in their space. It's the boundaries that they set. It's what they allow their mindset to absorb. All of that. So you need to take them same rules and them same stipulations and apply them to your own life. You could do whatever it is that you really want to do. Don't think that nothing can stop you, because anything is possible. There's always a way around it. But again, you got to do some research. You got to look into some things. You got to talk to some people. You got to network. You got to be able to step outside of your box and be willing to align yourself with valuable energies. Surround yourself with high frequency thinkers. If they're making you uncomfortable, listen. And not uncomfortable in a bad way where it's like, ooh, the vibe is bad, and girl, you talking about this and I'm not really into that, and that's different. It's different when somebody enlightens you about something. Let me just give an example. And this is probably going to stab when I say it, and people probably going to be pissed, but guess what? It's the truth. Let's talk about the holidays. Perfect example. I was raised, again, Southern Baptist Christian. Christmas is Jesus' birthday, so we're going to celebrate Christmas. Thanksgiving is family time. We're going to have this turkey. We're going to tear it up, and we're going to be good, and we're going to be merry. But not until I got older did I realize, okay, let's talk about Thanksgiving. So realistically, I'm supposed to get with my family. I'm going to blood, sweat, and tears, cooking 1,700 dishes for everybody. Because I come from a big family. Even though my immediate household was a household of 5, I just told y'all my, I don't know. Let me not say I told y'all. I come from a really large family on my mom's side. I'm talking about like 100 something first cousins on my mom's, because my mom is the product of a woman that is the 9th child. So a lot of cousins, when we would go to Thanksgiving, I mean, the house is full, all people all outside, people inside. We would have Thanksgiving food. We would have a barbecue. We would have a crawfish boil. We would have a fish fry, all in one setting. Like, that's how many people was there. But it didn't dawn on me until I got older that I'm like, and again, being around high frequency thinkers and people that's helping me elevate, why are we sitting here celebrating and eating when Thanksgiving has to do with white people coming over and stealing land, raping us, killing us, giving us venereal diseases, taking everything that we worked hard for, but yet we celebrate them each year? Okay. And then you go to Christmas, and it's like, okay, if you're a Christian, oh, it's Jesus' birthday. But you can also look up Luke chapter 3 and Luke chapter 33, and it explains that Mary had Jesus 6 months after Elizabeth's son, but Elizabeth's son was born on the first day of spring, which is March 21st. Well, 6 months after March 21st makes September 21st. That doesn't make December 25th. But then September 21st makes more sense, because back in the day, they had a huge festival around Jerusalem, Israel, like all of those areas. And they would do the festival because in the winter time, it would freeze. So they were trying to sell off like sheep and herds and like products and what that's been harvested. And everybody trying to make their money for the winter and be set for the winter, because 9 times out of 10, you could freeze to death if you were outside. So there's no way that some wise men could have been walking, they would have froze over. But it does make sense why all the hotels were sold out, because everybody was at this festival in September, because they would host it in September, preparing for the autumn and the winter. But again, this information is in the Bible and you can read it. But for some reason, Christians still celebrate Christmas as Jesus' birthday. But in America, for those of you who are Christian or who are not Christian, Christmas is a business. It has become very commercialized. It's all about you spending money, and kids are pressuring the parents, and people are feeling like they have to buy all these gifts for not only their immediate kids and their immediate family, but then their mamas and their daddies and their siblings and all this. And you spending all this money and you go into debt for exactly 1 week later, your rent is due on January 1st. So then guess what? You notice all these loans be popping up, and it's easy for you to get these loans to help you do this and to take care of this and to do that. It is a part of a capitalist business plan, module, scheme, whatever you want to call it. So again, putting myself around people that open my eyes to that, and me try to take it to my family, which wasn't receptive at first, but now they're receptive to it. I save so much money. And then I'm not celebrating things that really don't align with what I have going on. And then it also allows me not to fall in the rigmarole of what everybody else believes in, because of what society has brainwashed you and convinced you to believe in. I don't need no damn gifts just at Christmas from me being a good girl, a good boy all year. Run me my gifts all fucking year. Run me my kudos all year. Valentine's Day, another example. If you really look up the meaning of Valentine's Day, it is not good. It's about a massacre. It's about people eating hearts. It's about some deadly, crazy rapes, and it's crazy. When people celebrate Valentine's Day because that was what society has brainwashed them to believe of how important this day is. And that better be the day you show me love. My wife knows, don't give me shit on Valentine's Day. Nigga, you no. Do not. Do not. You show me love all year around. We have our own things that we do to showcase love. One day is not going to determine that. You buying the biggest bear, the best chocolates, the best roses, like, again, being brainwashed into what society is telling us to do. So who are you going to align with that's going to get you to think outside the box and stop celebrating and pouring money and time and energy into things that really have no real meaning? Or the meaning that is being portrayed is not where these things originated from. Again, how would you know that unless you're around somebody that opens your eyes and is not on that same level that they used to be? So become an individual, spend time by yourself to gain the best perspective, then share with others to enlighten those who gravitate towards your energy. That is what we're going to leave off with. There's nothing wrong with stepping outside the box. There's nothing wrong with being the quote unquote, and I put up my quotation mark fingers, the black sheep of the family, because you're only the black sheep is because you're opening your eyes to the reality of what things are, and you're not conforming to what society is trying to condition you to be conformed to. So to recap, guys, we talked about what energies are you aligning with, which is also highlighting the 7th frequency of elevation, social synergy. So be mindful of who you align with and what you look up to. Start thinking above mediocrity. Start thinking wealthy. Start thinking what is really going to catapult me into being my best self, and not me just feeling like I'm left out or FOMO because everybody else is doing this. But guess what? 20, 30, 40, 50 years going to go by, and then these people are going to look back and wish that they made some different moves, and you don't want to be that person. All right, guys. So for the upcoming month, be mindful of loving on yourself, showing yourself some grace, practicing best techniques for your mental health and what's going to keep you at a more manageable pace. All right. So the food you're eating, the people you're allowing into your space, the activities that you're participating in, what you're drinking, those things will contribute to your mental health. So just be mindful of that. We hope that you like this episode. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as we have additional content that we share as well. But feel free to comment to this episode if you would like to discuss anything. I am open to listener mail. Be sure to share this with anybody that you feel like can resonate with it as well. Don't forget to also save it. Come back to it. Let it resonate. Some of these things you might be like, you just gave me way too much and I'm not feeling it. But then just let it sit there and then just be open to the possibilities and then go do the research yourself, because I gave plenty of resources that you can go look this stuff up yourself and see. So want to give a big shout out to JJ Cicero for the banging intro. We want to send gratitude for everybody for tuning in. Again, these recommendations may not resonate. This energy may not resonate with you, but I just asked you to be open, and we thank you for even considering the information that we have brought forth to you. We want to manifest a positive, productive, and peaceful remainder of the day. Happy Wealth and Wellness Wednesday, and we'll be talking to you soon. Peace. See you next week, guys.